welcome to Retro Spectrum, the podcast where we listen to a lot of music.
This week we took a dive into some Tejano music, listening to the artist Selena.
And it was so fun for me. And it was really fun as a language nerd to learn the translations of the songs because you learn how funny this band was. I didn't realize how much of their sense of humor was in the lyrical content until I learned the English translations of the lyrics. It was just a really fun experience.
Yeah, I missed out on a lot of that. I know that I talk a lot about lyrics not being super, the first thing that I listen to or super important to me. But listening to stuff in a different language, it was really easy to kind of gloss over any of the lyrical content of her music and just focus on the sound aspect of it.
So we kind of went opposite directions, but it was really fun for me experience. So
yeah, I don't know that how I actually felt comes across in this recording very well. I like this music. I do enjoy it. I was kind of low energy when we were recording, and
and you actually listen to it more than it seemed like in the episode. Like you do listen to Selena sometimes, actually.
Yeah, I've got a Selena album, and I don't know. I'm worried I came across as a hater, and I'm not that at all. It was just kind of a low E day that we recorded on. So
yeah.
If it comes across that way, that wasn't my intention.
Because we love Selena.
Well, okay. I don't know that I'll put myself on your level necessarily, but I did enjoy the listening process, and I hope that comes through in our conversation.
So enjoy the episode, because we would do anything for Selena. I don't know if you noticed my shirt.
I do now.
It's Selena. Also, my necklace is a holographic Selena, which you probably can't see over the internet, but it's actually a picture of her, a holographic picture.
Did you buy them from the official store?
I bought this from Fashion Brand Company. Actually, she sent it to me for free. And then I got the Selena shirt from a thrifting app. I'm pretty sure Forever 21 made it. So no. But I would, honestly. I love Selena so much. And listening to her this much for so long has really renewed my undying love for Selena.
So were you already into her before we did this?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that's cheating a little bit.
Well, I was into her, but I didn't know all the songs or anything. Like every now and then I'll just have a little Selena kick where I listen to a handful of the songs for a few days, but I didn't know all the words to all of them. I didn't know a bunch of them, a lot of the songs I hadn't heard before, which was exciting to hear stuff I hadn't heard before. And Bitty Bitty Bom Bom was my favorite before, but I have a new favorite now.
Yeah.
Que Crias. It's so beautiful. I fucking love that song.
Which album is that on?
Well, it's hard to say because I listen to every single album and every single compilation. I listen to literally every single Selena song on Spotify that exists. And I've been listening to her non-fucking stop. I almost haven't listened to anything else because I like it so much. And I've learned some new Spanish words that I didn't know.
From
which is
the
cool.
music or just in your regular?
Yeah, from the music. Because right now I'm just deeply into Portuguese. So I've been not doing so much Spanish, which is a little bit confusing to be listening to a bunch of Spanish songs and then try to go back to my Portuguese lessons. But yeah, I was curious on so many songs as to what she was saying. So I looked up a bunch of translations. So that was really fun. I've never done, a deep dive like this on her as much as I already knew her and already loved her. But now I feel like a Selena scholar.
Well, good. You're going to have to learn me some things because I did not do any translations. I pretty much just did a listen straight through without, I don't have a ton of research on this one. I know all the stuff that I knew before. I got all the main points, I think. I have a good overview, but I didn't really get in the weeds on that. So if we go to the weeds today, you're going to have to take us there.
Right on. So did you ever listen to her back in the day or anything?
I mean, yeah. For me, it's the movie. I equate her life with the movie because to me it was all the same. You know what I mean? That movie came out when I was 10 or whatever. I'm pretty sure we watched it in school a couple of times. I think in a music class I watched it.
It's so good.
But I know that I've seen it a bunch of times.
I would say that Selena is one of the most beloved artists of all time. People are fucking obsessed with her. And it's It's all, to me, it all comes down to authenticity, because I heavily relate to Selena because the way she like came into everything was with like a positive attitude, and like she was friendly and jokey and goofy, and it just seemed like she was herself like all the time. And that's so refreshing. And I think people are really drawn to that and really connect to that. It always comes down to authenticity, like whether I'm going to really like it or not. And Selena, I feel like, is very authentic, even though she didn't speak Spanish and had to learn Spanish, but she never lied about that or anything. You know what I mean? Like, so it would be like a jokey thing in the interviews. And I don't know. She just always had like a good sense of humor.
I have an additional theory to that because I think you're right. I do think she's authentic. I do think that comes across, especially on stage and in her like performance and stuff. I think the main reason she has as much longevity as she's had is that she died young. I think that kind of martyrs and immortalizes people.
Sure.
But I think a huge part of it too is branding. I think that she was really good, and her family and their whole enterprise was really good at branding. And you talk about the stuff she did with Coke. Like, I think she was a very image conscious, and like, I don't know if it was her,
Well, she knew that kids looked up to her.
but I think they did a good job of controlling her name and her brand and her image, and also creating like the t-shirts and the packaging and stuff so you could have a piece of her. It wasn't just the music, it was like almost lifestyle-esque,
Yeah.
versus just owning the album. You could own the clothing or the jewelry, or like, and I know that she had a hand in all that, and that was like another area for her creativity. But I think that bleeds into the longevity. Like, it's really easy to there are parallels with Nirvana, you know what I mean? It's really easy to show people that you like Nirvana because it's really easy to get a shirt or a poster or whatever. And I think Selena has some of that too. And when you see like the script that her name is written in, it seems really well protected and really well managed and packaged, I think, for people. Even when she was alive, I think that was true. And I think
Well,
it's,
yeah, I was going to say, I feel like a lot of that came after death
yeah.
because of her dad. And there's a lot of opinions about her dad on the internet. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people call him dictator because a lot of people have this view of him that he was really controlling and constantly told them what to do. And I'm sure he was controlling. I mean, he's a typical dad. A lot of dads are controlling like that and want their kids to do a certain thing and be a certain way. And so I totally get that. But he seems like he has depths to me. Like, he's not just a controlling piece of shit. So I read Chris Perez's book. I tried to consume every single bit of content I could on Selena. And there's oddly not, I thought there would be a shitload of documentaries because so many people we've done, there's been so many documentaries. And there's not a ton of documentaries about Selena. There's little short ones that like fans and stuff make on YouTube. And then there's a couple like newsreels from when she died and stuff like that. The news did a story on her right when she died and like did backstory and stuff. So I also watched the Selena movie and the Selena show on Netflix, the newer show. And it's interesting because in the show, so okay, Chris Perez wrote his book about Selena, like To Selena with Love. And it was like sort of just like a closure process for him, it felt like, and just telling the world how great she was and how much he loved her. It was a really sweet book. And I guess like he was in talks with Netflix right after he wrote that book. They wanted to make a series, and then it got all cut off because the dad was like, you can't do this. Like, we're going to do this basically. So then the dad stole it from him basically. And so the Netflix show, I'm pretty sure the brother was a producer, AB, but in the show, I felt like it portrayed the dad nicer than it did in the movie. So I was wondering if he made that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because the dad's involved. And I'm sure they were involved in the movie too.
Yeah, he
So
was a producer on the movie, and it got to like family's blessing and stuff. So
I felt like the dad in the movie felt accurate to me. Not that I know any of these people personally, obviously,
right.
but the dad in the movie was kind of a dick. But there was little side parts of him being sweet. And like, he has this really, did you watch the movie?
I watched about an hour and a half of it before we got on here. That's what I was just doing.
I don't know if you got to the part where he does this speech about we're Mexican Americans. We have it like twice as hard because we have to be super Mexican for the Mexicans. We have to be super American for the Americans. We never fucking do it right. Whatever the speech was. I thought that was a really sick speech and felt like really accurate to their like experience, which was cool. But yeah, anyway, I felt like a lot of the merchandising came after she died because he was wanting to continue to finance his family via all their lifelong hard work with Selena and to lose the face of the enterprise. I mean, I'm sure he's just sort of just trying to make sure you survive kind of a thing, you know,
Oh yeah.
financially.
And I don't necessarily mean it as a bad thing. I just think that plays into
Yeah.
her longevity.
But I think even before, and also I think if she hadn't died, I think that's a little bit dismissive of how fucking amazing she is, because I think if she hadn't died, she would still have the same, like, I think she would be huge.
Oh yeah, I think she died before she got as big as she was going
Oh,
to, for
yeah,
sure. It wasn't like
for
the
sure.
peak of her popularity. It was really on like
It
the
was right at the beginning, kind of.
right before what I think would have been huge. I mean, she
Yeah.
was really popular, but it was also kind of
But I think she would have been one of those like fucking Madonna, like Tina,
yeah,
like people respect forever, and just
yeah.
because her voice, man, is fucking incredible. Oh my God. And the way she sings Que Cries, it's just so badass. When I first heard that song, I didn't know what a lot of the words meant. So I didn't know what the song was about or anything. And she just seemed almost heartbroken because she's so passionate when she sings that song. But then I figured out the lyrics, and it's basically like a respect type of song, like a I will survive type of energy. The man leaves and then he tries to come back, and she's like, "You think that I would let you come back?" No. Like, it's really badass. And when she did it on stage, she would have a guy from the audience come up and she would be singing to him. She would like introduce him as, "This is my ex-boyfriend." And then she would sing to him like, you know, all this fuck you business and be really sassy about it. And it's just so, yeah, so good. God, I love her. Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed.
Did you watch a lot of like live videos and stuff?
Yeah, she's so just she has such a sweet personality. She's so down to earth. It really comes through on all the interviews.
Yeah.
Even when she'll be trying to like speak in Spanish in the interview to the Spanish person interviewing her, and if she
Yeah.
like slips up or whatever, like she always just immediately breaks and like laughs, and it's a big jokey thing. Like there is this talk show she was on that everyone always talks about, that she said instead of saying 14, she said DAC cuatro, like 14. And the woman interviewing her was like, "This is Tex-Mex." And it was just like this funny thing. But yeah, there's so many interviews of like the Mexican people giving her shit, like the Spanish people giving her shit, and she just like totally takes it in stride.
I didn't realize that she didn't speak Spanish. I mean, like, I think by her adult life, she spoke decently well, but I didn't know that she had to sing phonetically. So you're kind of learning Spanish the same way that she did through her
Exactly.
songs.
Exactly. Literally.
You'll know how to talk about heartbreak and lost loves and
Yeah, and how you can't come back to me once you leave, motherfucker. I feel like if she was still alive, she would be so much bigger than she's got Paula Abdul vibes, Janet vibes, Madonna vibes. And I feel like she would be bigger than all of them if she was still alive.
yeah, I know there were a lot of like Gloria Estefan
Oh, yes.
comparisons when she was still performing or whatever, and I think that's kind of like the only other Latina artist they could think of to compare at the time. But I do think there's some comparison there, but honestly Madonna was really the one that came to mind for me a little bit more, especially with the English language stuff.
Yes.
She wasn't as edgy as Madonna, and I don't think she was trying to be necessarily.
She was just being herself, which is another thing that I love. Like, she just liked fashion. That's why she wore those little bra tops or whatever. She like just thought it was cute and wanted to wear it. She wasn't like trying to be edgy or a thing, you know?
Right.
She wanted to make the music that she liked. That's why, you know, she wanted to do disco and
Well, and that's the part that's so messed up about so many things about her dying young are, but like the work that she put in on all the first four albums, that felt like the work of like, I have to do this so then I can go make the music that I want to make. Like, it didn't seem like she was a huge fan of Tejano music or cumbia or any of that stuff.
that's exactly what it was. The whole band was like that.
Yeah, it's like we got to do this so we can prove that we're going to sell records and the people like us.
But then apparently after they started doing it, they started actually liking it.
Yeah.
And then they were doing it in a different way than it had ever been done before, and kind of putting their spin on it and making it cool. And it kind of revived Tejano music, like for the younger people.
Because it didn't sound like, all the other stuff in that genre at that time. They kind of sounded the same. And they kept talking about how it's like a working class genre. Like everything I read kept talking about how Tejano music was working class. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. I feel like that's a theme too, is like all these working class genres seem to work their way into the stuff that we listen to. I would have gotten a lot more out of her earlier work had I spoken Spanish, I think.
Knowing the lyrics makes a huge fucking difference. That's why watching the Netflix show is really cool. And some videos on YouTube have it as well, where they put English subtitles when she's singing in Spanish. It's a whole nother level of enjoyment and just understanding. I also think her voice sounds a lot like Debbie Gibson. Did you ever listen to Debbie Gibson? She was like briefly popular in the early 90s.
A little bit, not much. The name is familiar. I don't know that I would recognize any songs.
All my notes are just like, so fucking good. I fucking love Selena. I wanted to put every song in the Retro Spectrum playlist. Amame, such a great classic sounding pop song. Dreaming of You, this shit kind of reminds me of Destiny's Child, some of it.
Yeah.
Also the aspect of like the kid band where your dad's kind of your manager or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Like Destiny's Child, and Destiny's Child moms made a lot of the clothes. Selena's made her own clothes and her mom helped make her clothes and stuff too. So there's a lot of crossover with, and it's kind of like a tricky thing with like child when you start as a kid band and you like your parents are like pushing you to do that. Like obviously that's ripe for like abuse and stuff.
Well, and then when you start to get older and like want to do your own thing, it's like you're in that system where they're controlling everything, but it's like, well, now I'm an adult. I want to do my own.
That's kind of exactly what happened when she wanted to pursue her fashion stuff and open her clothing stores. Like her dad didn't want her to do that because he thought it would take away from her energy to do the music. And she's like, no, I want to fucking do this. So she went off and did that on her own, which is really cool. Like she was just starting to get her independence and then she got fucking killed, which I don't want to talk a huge amount about that fucking cunt.
I don't really either.
Fuck that lady. And it's very cut and dry. There's no controversy to talk about, really. She's a piece of shit. Psycho. Killed her.
But man, it was a bummer doing research because that's the only thing. It was like doing the Tina Turner stuff where it was like everything.
All Ike shit. Yeah.
Yes, was either prefaced with or framed around or like had something to do with Ike and her leaving Ike and all that stuff. And that's kind of how the Selena stuff was. I wanted to find more like contemporary stuff, but I don't think she was really covered in mainstream publications until 94 or 95 or so. I think the first 3 albums were all pretty Tejano focused, and you know, even getting to like #1 on the charts, it was #1 on the Tejano music charts, which was still pretty regional and segmented.
Yeah. They were just blowing up.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they were fucking huge though, because they sold out the Astrodome like 3 years in a row or some shit.
Yeah.
Her last show there before she died was the biggest show ever there, like bigger than Michael Jackson, like, which is crazy that more people came to see her than Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Especially in 1995.
But it makes fucking sense because she's way cooler than Michael Jackson. And that's where, same with the Kitty Band shit, his shit went way awry, you know, of all the child bands that grew up to be adults. I feel like Selena is one of the most like wholesome ones. It wasn't filled with horrific abuse or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like you can also tell that just from the way she turned out.
I think in a vacuum, like if you had to live the life that she did with her dad, I think you would probably describe him as abusive, you know, within the context of controlling and overbearing and stuff like that, but not anything on the level of so many other.
Right.
I mean, at least from what has come out. It also seems like they're all still pretty well connected to each other. There wasn't a big falling out among her family members or her brother and dad. And
they are a little bit not great towards Chris.
But they never were. I mean, wasn't that a whole part of the...
Yes, which is so annoying because he seems really sweet and the internet is filled with Chris stans. People are obsessed with him.
He's in Kings of Cumbia.
He like won a Grammy.
Yeah, he's been a performing musician since then. I don't think anything on the level of where he was with Selena. Okay, so they grew up Jehovah's Witness, right? So I'm assuming the dad is religious and very conservative. I mean, Jehovah's Witness have a lot of belief, like no holidays, no birthdays, no celebrations of any. So there's like kind of a hard line and not very fun. It feels like a lot of the stuff is like...
I was about to say, how does like no fun allowed praise God or whatever? You would think your God would want you to enjoy your life.
Well, for me, it's like, how does music fit into that? Because it feels like if you're not going to do all of those...
That feels a little blasphemy.
Yeah. If you're going to say that all that stuff is like crossing the line or whatever, why is music okay? Especially like, you know, he was in a rock and roll band or whatever in the 50s and 60s and 70s and stuff. So it's like...
non-religious music. Yeah. Yeah, so strange.
So I think that, like, I have that in my mind because that colors like how he felt about how she dressed and probably also how he felt about Chris because he was like a rock and roller or whatever.
Long hair.
Yeah. He probably listened to Iron Maiden if I'm gonna bet.
Oh my God, I have so many Iron Maiden ads coming up every single time I open Spotify. It's like Iron Maiden coming to a fucking place near you.
Yeah, because they're touring nonstop.
Yeah, and we
forever.
need to go.
I think we should. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, it would, and we have to.
She did do a bunch of like charity work and stuff too. I mean, I think she did have some what we would consider pretty conservative views on some topics.
Yes, I saw her say that she was against abortion, and I was like, "Oh, no." I will say that I think if she was still alive, I think she would have changed her mind on that.
Yeah, it was a lot more. I think she had a conservative upbringing. And you know, what you say in an interview versus what you're actually
Especially since she was so aware of trying to be, like, a role model for, like, young girls.
right. Yeah, and it was a different time for. And
Yes.
like you were saying, I think that she was probably held to a unrealistic standard in like 4 different ways. And so there's no way to make everybody happy. I'm willing to bet that most of her audience at the time was fairly conservative too.
Texas.
So you wouldn't want to say anything that would
Piss
upset,
off your whole
yeah,
fan base.
yeah, that upsets your entire or get you blacklisted or whatever, especially
Yeah.
in an industry that you had to work so hard to be
Right,
accepted
exactly.
in at all. I think she's another artist that's like an example of a woman that has gone into male dominated, like the Patsy Clines, the
Yes,
Tina Turners,
yes.
of like even Patti Smith too, a little bit of like
Yep,
going into punk rock and being like, I'm gonna do me. Like you guys are gonna make room for me. This isn't
yep.
normally where.
She fucking danced her way in there and changed the whole game,
Yep,
dude.
yep. She washing machined herself to the top.
Yeah. Apparently that scene actually didn't happen in real life.
The one where they're on the beach and the mom's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, your dad really likes this one," and it was like, "Gross, mom, calm
I know,
down."
right? Apparently they went to the beach a lot, but her mom didn't teach her to dance, I guess.
I'm sure that there are many things in there that are rolled into.
Yeah.
But as far as the biopics for the bands or the artists that we've done, this one I know is not 100% accurate, but it feels the most accurate. And
Mhm.
really in general for those types of movies, like
Yeah.
you have to roll stuff together and
It wasn't overly sensationalized and shit.
it seems to match the beats from like biographies and what her actual story was. And I know that's packaged.
And her personality. J-Lo did so fucking good. When the movie came out, we watched it all the fucking time.
I just remember the line anything for Salinas and
Dude.
going around and saying that.
Apparently that part did actually happen.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a thing where the dudes actually did have the bumper, like they did save the bumper.
I read an interview of like Suzette talking about all of the things that were accurate and not about the movie. Did all the albums that you listened to have spoken liner notes?
They did. I did not listen to them. I think that's a really fun idea.
I really enjoyed that. That was an unexpected surprise and pleasure for me. Did you listen to the live anything?
We were driving around this morning and I listened to the Astrodome album, the one that starts with the big disco medley that the movie also starts with. And so I listened to the first 2 or 3 tracks on there and I was like, man, I'm glad I listened to this one because it's a different, you get a different aspect of it from the live version than what you get on the recorded
Totally.
version. That didn't make its way through on the recordings as much, I don't think. I think the recordings were a little more like traditional
Sure.
than what you got at a live show. So it was nice that that has been preserved.
I know because you can like kind of see her personality and stuff when she's like speaking.
And it's not just about like making the traditional music. I mean, not all of her stuff sounded traditional or whatever.
They got to have a little more fun on stage. Change it up a bit.
Yeah, yeah. You got to see a different side and the disco and stuff. Like there's none of that on the recording of just like the straight up disco stuff. I think they incorporated it into their sound, especially
It's on some compilations, the disco medley.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read that they liked to kind of play around on stage and change stuff up and stuff, which is cool. I love that. And that's how she wrote Bitty Bitty Bom Bom. I think Chris was just playing a random riff and she just started singing Bitty Bitty Bom Bom because that's the sound her heart makes when he's around. I love their love. I might be a Chris stan also.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe perhaps.
You can tell when he talks, he's so sweet. And yeah, like the book that he wrote, the chick who read it is a Chris stan, obviously, because the only version of it I could find was just a random chick reading it on YouTube. And she, every time the dad's name was in the book, she said dictator. And every time Yolanda's name was in the book, she called her Oompa Loompa. So her reading of it was a little skewed because every now and then she would stop reading and insert her own opinion in there too. which I actually enjoyed. It was a pretty enjoyable listen, but it was annoying because she didn't have it all in a playlist. So I had to like sort through all of her random videos, and she's been making YouTube content for like years. Her name's on YouTube is It's Tia Baby. And so at the beginning of all of her videos, she says, "Hey, hey, hey, it's Tia Baby," which I also
It sounds like a
enjoyed.
nightmare. It sounds like a way too much work.
But I listened to it on 2 speed. If I had listened to it on regular speed, it would have been a no-go, but on double speed, it was fine. This chick has decided that Suze is just like the dad, and that they're both kind of assholes.
The drummer, sister.
Yeah, towards Selena. But I kind of feel like she's putting a little bit too much of her own shit on it, because in all the interviews that I saw, she seemed nice and fine. But I don't know. Who fucking knows what the family dynamic is when no one's around, you know?
Yeah, nobody. They do.
Right. But because I know that AB got like ended up going to jail a couple times. Like, I don't remember what for, which is funny because the dad's all fucking dickish about like Chris being like a rock star or whatever, and then his own son's the one going to jail, you know? I believe Chris went to jail once as well.
That was before he was in the band, or like right
Yeah.
around that time. Yeah. So that's like bad. It's like, hey, don't hang out with this guy. And then he goes to jail. And then
Right.
it's like,
Not doing him any favors.
yeah, yeah, it makes it a little more of an uphill battle. I do think that them getting eloped, like running away and getting married or whatever, like that's a pretty baller move.
Yeah, I agree. Well, because she was like, he's not ever going to accept us unless you're in the family.
Right.
So we're just going to make you family real quick.
Yeah. So Forbidden Love is the translated title of the 94 album. And so I've always read into that as talking about her and Chris.
It definitely is.
But I guess the lyrics are about her grandma who
Oh.
worked for a family and was a house cleaner for a family and fell in love with their son of the family that she worked for, which was like, oh, that's like, there's some parallel
Whoa.
lines here.
Oh, I didn't read that because I assumed it was about him too.
I mean, I think that's part of it.
Because there was another one that was about him. Well, that was another thing about her and why her performances were so like magnetic, because she really felt the lyrics. Like she was fully taking it on and acting it, which is really nice to watch. You know, it's really compelling.
Well, and even though she did the traditional genres, I do think that she wrote from, or not wrote, but like, because her brother wrote most of the songs or whatever, or they were already standards, but I think she sang them from her perspective.
Exactly.
Kind of the same thing with Tina Turner. It was like, you're getting her perspective on it, not what you would normally get.
Same with Patty. Again, it's the authenticity of all these badass bitches that we're listening to. They've got this thing in them that no matter what they're doing, you can still see the them behind it.
So going through the albums, the story is almost more interesting than the music to me, just of like the story of her life and all that stuff. The music is good, but I really feel like we were robbed of what her actual vision was, because we never got to see even Dreaming of You, which was the like quote unquote crossover album. It isn't the finished version. Like they were still working on recording it. They took like some unreleased stuff and mixed it with some stuff that they had been working on. And like, so we still never really got the like top tier. Like, I feel like what we got were all the, how bands will have like their first albums that you never hear from again or whatever once they have their like major label debuts. I just feel like we never got that like version of the music that she really wanted to be out there, and that's a real bummer.
Yeah, it really is, because I'm telling you, she would have been the hugest fucking superstar. And she would have been a good one to have because she was a good person.
Well, and that's the other thing is like comparing this to like Spice Girls or whatever. Spice Girls were built in a lab and had tryouts and was this group of like random girls that were put together. Theirs feels pretty organic. You know, I think they were forced by their dad a little bit, especially at the beginning. You're going to do this or whatever, whether you want to or not. Like, it didn't feel like they were shortcutted or like their uncle worked for the label or whatever. It feels like they earned everything.
Oh, hell no. They worked their asses off. They were literally having band practice like every day of their fucking childhood. Like, and after revisiting Selena, I went to my dad and I was like, dude, I kind of low-key wish you would have forced us to be in a family band. He did do that for a little bit, but he just didn't have the motivation on his own to follow through with it. When I first started playing bass, it was because he paid me hourly to play bass when I was 11. And I fucking wish he would have kept pushing me, because if I was like a really badass bass player right now, that would be so sick. And I haven't played in years, so I suck. You know what I mean?
Holly y los Dinos.
Yes.
So the first couple of out, like, do you feel like it is consistent throughout?
Yes, but I felt like it just kept getting better.
Did you watch the Coke commercial that she did?
Yeah.
It was
Catchy.
it was so 90s. When I was looking at that, it said it was the first time a corporation had designed a marketing program to appeal to a specific demographic. Now it has become so hyper focused. Like that's what everything is not just advertised to like demographics, but advertised to like you specifically through all the tracking and stuff online. So I thought it was interesting to see like that was the first version of it compared to where we are now in a mere 35
I know that makes
years.
it seem so wholesome back then, even though Coke's like hella evil.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, they were just like, I don't know. I guess Mexican people might want a commercial with Selena in it. And now it's like, are you between the ages of 35 and 36 and your birthday is in this? And like,
35 and 35 in
yeah,
2
yeah,
months.
exactly. Like everything is so hyper specific.
And you know what? I think that Selena was the perfect person to do that Coke ad because she does speak to the people. So that was a good move on Coke.
Oh, yeah. Her as a brand spokesperson is like, what more could you want? She had both sides of the coin. She was a sex symbol, but also like
Innocent and
innocent. And
sweet.
yeah. And so like you appealed to like every demographic.
I kind of relate to her innocence in a way too, because it also kind of translates to naivete, which I kind of feel like is partially has to do with her going to her death location that day because she wanted to like work things out or whatever and like be a good person and tries to think the best of
I
people.
just don't think there was any way to see that. It seems like so far out of character.
Well, apparently not. Apparently, the hairdresser or makeup artist or something, a male hairdresser, I believe, ended up stopping working for Selena after working for her for like years and loving her because of this crazy bitch. And he like warned the family about her multiple times and nobody listened to him. And he went to her house and there was like shrines of Selena all over the walls and shit. Like this bitch was fucking obsessed with her. And he said, she's obsessed with you. This is weird. And nobody listened. So, but yeah, I think that like also part of the parents' mistakes just in general was like being a little too overprotective with Selena to where she like wasn't able to make mistakes when she was younger to like learn who to trust and stuff. But again, most people aren't going to think that somebody's going to randomly shoot them. So,
Right.
because she was only
Yeah, well,
23.
and that's just it. We have all this perspective now, like looking back on it, that it's like, yeah, she should have done that, but she's 23, she's a kid. And again, I think you're right, probably pretty innocent and
She was very trusting and wanted to see the best in people. And that's how I always
yeah,
was too.
and was going there to get, like some receipts or whatever back. I don't know. It wasn't like she drove up to a gang fight or something and hopped out of the car
Right.
and she went to go see this person who she'd known for years.
Shit was fishy though, because like the day before she made her take her to a hospital because she said she got raped, but it was a lie. And the doctors like took Selena aside and was like, this bitch is lying. So you've got fucking dad always trying to control everything. Why not bring him in on this one? You know what I mean? Call for backup on this one. And watching all these documentaries and stuff made me wonder if like her impact, like, is her impact because she's an amazing person, or is it more about how people like prescribe meaning onto things they know basically nothing about?
Well, it's that parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
I think this is a kind of an early-ish like it's all over the place now with the internet because everybody's available all the time. But I think that people built really strong bonds with her
Yes.
without really knowing who she was. And so
Big time.
I think the timing was similar, but I think like her and Kurt Cobain in both of those things is people took it like they lost a actual like a loved one from their own life, even though it was a person they never met or interacted with one on one.
Well, and she went out of her way to be like really chill with the fans and talk to them and spent a lot of time interacting with her fans. So that was another step in making people feel that way towards her. But I truly believe that her authenticity is what is the lasting aspect of it. I think that's what's causing the lasting impact is her authenticity. That's how I feel when I look at her. And I think that's the big part of the parasocial thing too, because people look at her and she's so down to earth. And apparently she like hung out at home like a ton and like bought a go-kart and would give kids in the neighborhood rides around the fucking neighborhood and was like friendly with all her neighbors and like everybody in the town. There were so many little documentaries and stuff. Like there was one called Corpus Home Movie for Selena or something like that. Yeah, it's a weird name, but I think maybe the family put that out. But there are like interviews of like people at restaurants in her town that she always went to the restaurants, like, and they would like tell you what she liked to eat. Like she loved junk food. And she talked about that a lot in interviews too. People asked her, like, what's your, regimen or whatever. And she's like, I eat all the junk food that I want and I dance on stage and that's it.
The
Like,
joys of being 22 or
yeah,
23.
no shit, dude. Speaking of that, her body was one of the things that was a big difference with what was popular at the time. One of the big reasons that it was like so important for like young girls especially is because she's brown, she's got a big ass, she's curvy, she has like curly hair, and she like did a bunch of different stuff with her hair. And I don't know, like finally someone who's not like a blonde stick figure that we can look up to, you know what I mean?
So about the Ones record that I showed you the other day,
Yeah.
and it's got 20
Yeah.
songs on it. And to me, that is enough. Like I got more out of listening to the greatest hits than I did actually going through the discography. If I'm being honest, the first two albums, there's some good songs on there. There's probably two or three really good songs on each one of those albums, but they're super repetitive. And some of the like keyboard synth sounds on there are so dated and they're
Goofy.
goofy. I
Yeah.
literally wrote like there are some goofy keys on these songs.
That's
It's
just the
just
nature of that style of music,
I
though.
know, but it was just like it was so it was too cheese. It was too cheesy.
I kind of like that polka oompa oompa shit. Like,
Yeah.
I am a nerd, so like I like polka music. There's a show, I don't know if you've ever seen this or heard of this, but it's like a public access show where it's like some fucking fairground building where a polka band's playing and there's a bunch of old couples just dancing. And that's the show. It's like Red's Polka Hour or some shit like that. Well, I really enjoyed watching that as a youth.
That sounds like a Cato specific.
It's public access, so it's probably in Texas somewhere.
The Polka Power Hour.
I'm pretty sure it's Red's. I think the guy's name's Red. That's another reason I related to Selena a lot too, because she's from Texas. She's the best thing that ever fucking came out of Texas, I gotta say.
George Bush named April 16th Selena Day in Texas.
I know, I was surprised by that because he's gotta be a racist. Dude, what about that David Byrne song?
Which song is it?
It's called God's Child. And literally, as soon as it came on, I don't know how, as a longtime Selena fan and a longtime David Byrne fan, that I did not know this fucking song existed. I don't know how that could have possibly, I've missed that somehow. But as soon as the song came on and fucking like bongos or whatever fucking drum Byrne's always using in his shit came on, I was like, this sounds like David Byrne. And then he literally, it is him. And I was just like, oh my God. And the song is so fucking good. David Byrne is really smart and does a lot of really good shit. I've seen him on Broadway twice. So I feel like you should listen to that. Or you did listen to it.
Yeah, I just didn't read it as David Byrne. So I guess that song didn't make a huge impression on me.
It blew my mind. And it kind of had like Chris Isaac vibes as well. And I can totally see Selena and Chris Isaac collaborating. And that would have been so amazing. Oh my God.
Have you ever listened to Orville Peck?
I just listened to possibly the first song I've ever heard of his like 2 days ago.
Go listen to Orville Peck. He just released a new album. I cannot say if it's good or not. I haven't listened to it. It probably is because everything he does is pretty good.
I like the vibe. The aesthetic is good.
You need to go listen to it.
Yeah.
It's very Chris Isaac.
You know what? I have heard one song where he was doing a little, whatever
Yeah.
Chris Isaac does. That sounded more like a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that thing where he haunts 1930s cartoons? You want to know a weird Selena fact?
Oh, yes.
Ron Paul was her obstetrician at birth.
Odd.
Isn't that weird?
I think I read that actually.
Yeah, it was on Wikipedia.
Nice.
That's where most of my research came from this time. I had a hard time getting into this one, research-wise.
It really does help to know the lyrics.
My takeaway, I don't feel that differently than I do now. I don't think I'm gonna like play deep cuts. I think for me, all of the singles and like popular songs are her best songs. So I don't feel like I was like missing on a piece of a puzzle.
I thought that at first, but the more I listen, the more I like some of the like weirder, more obscure ones.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised to see that on Spotify, like the top 5 most popular songs or whatever, that they pop up at the beginning of the person's page or whatever.
Yeah.
Bitty Bitty Bom Bom wasn't on there.
It's the third one on Tidal.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it wasn't on there. I was like, huh, that's strange. A lot of people didn't like the Netflix show, apparently, because first of all, they made her even wider looking and thinner. J-Lo was one thing. She was wider looking and she was Puerto Rican and not Mexican, and a lot of people got bent out of shape about that. But then once they watched the movie and she was so good at it, they were like, fuck it. J-Lo's career fucking exploded after that movie too. Like that movie put her on the map, basically.
That is wild that she probably has Selena to thank for
She fucking does.
pretty much everything that came after that.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Like, even if she hadn't played Selena, she would still have Selena to thank for a lot of things because
Yeah.
in her short time that she had in the public eye or whatever, she really made a deep impact on everyone who ever saw her. I feel like Selena is one of the most impactful artists that have existed, basically. That's sounds extreme to say, but her impact is just deep, man. People love Selena. She died in 1996 and a Netflix show about her just came out. Like, I just think she's insanely impactful and just a bad bitch. Anything for Selena. Also, I listened to a podcast called Anything for Selena, and I highly recommend if anyone wants to do a hella deep dive on Selena to listen to that because it's only like, I think 9 episodes or something.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And the dad very rarely, almost never, like will do interviews and stuff. And the girl got him to talk to her. She also interviewed Chris. Yeah, it was cool. Like she just goes into what Selena meant to her and stuff. It was a really good podcast.
I don't know that my listening habits will change towards Selena. I think like when I hear the songs come on and be like, oh, it's nice to have some background knowledge. I don't really feel like I came out of this one feeling very differently than how I went into it. And maybe that has something to do with my mindset or with my, I don't know, listening experience or already kind of having some background knowledge. So there wasn't a whole lot of like stuff to uncover.
Well, yeah, and her story is like pretty cut and dry.
And it doesn't really connect to like a larger, like it's hard for me personally to find a connection. It doesn't fit into my pre-existing like structures and stuff.
Well, you don't listen to like a ton of pop or anything.
I don't really like pop. Yeah, you've been forcing me to listen to a shitload of pop this season, and I still like it's fine.
Spice Girls and Selena.
And Tina, like it just.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of Tina as pop.
I was
yeah.
thinking about that today. It's like it's been very pop heavy, and
I'm not crazy about pop normally, so it's interesting that I'm doing that to us. I'm not planning it that way.
Pop is like a blind spot because I don't listen to it. So it's like there are huge artists that I just don't know that much about and haven't listened to because I don't really like it. However, I think she is the most unique artist musically and sonically out of those ones that we've done. I definitely think she was doing her own thing and kind of like you said, like reforming or reshaping the Tejano music. So I do think there was some value there. I just don't know that I will go out of my way in the future to like, I probably won't listen to anything outside of the hits.
Well, okay. I would say for you that I think you would really enjoy listening to the liner notes because they talk about like the recording process and stuff like that. And it was really, really interesting to talk about how they like reshaped the genre.
Maybe but I don't find the music that interesting.
Yeah, but just to think of like yourself, you know, the similarities with the guitarist going in and laying down a guitar track and talking about it. I don't know. I just found it interesting as someone who has made music. Like, it's just cool to hear about the process.
Do you want to know how she connects to the larger web?
Oh, yes.
EMI. It's an easy connection. She was signed to EMI. So was Iron Maiden. So was Tina Turner. So it actually, EMI is a huge hub. I'm looking at it and
major hub. A lot of record labels will be.
Out of the albums we've listened to, 5, 8, 10, 12, 19 albums that we've listened to have been on EMI. And all of hers were on EMI Latin. And then the last one was actually released on EMI proper. Like she was the first EMI Latin artist signed to that label. And then they made her put out 4 albums before they would let her do one on the main label. And I think she kind of had to like trick them and being like, hey, we're going to sign with somebody else and do a English language album.
She did. She kind of pulled the Spice Girls on them.
Yeah. If you don't put it out, we're going to put it out with somebody else. And so they decided to put it out and then she got murdered. So they put out what they had.
Fucking sucks.
Do you feel like you got all your Selena knowledge dropped?
Maybe not all of it, but I feel good.
You feel like we got to a good place? Would you recommend Selena to what
sure.
person, describe the person that you would recommend Selena to? Like the peak Selena fan that like needs this in their listening lives.
A teenage girl. Any teenage girl.
I think you could go even younger. I think you could do preteen. I think you could do like a 10 to 12-year-old.
Young women, young girls.
That's a good recommendation. That's a good.
Well, because it's just, she is a really good role model. I don't know. Just something about the visibility of a Mexican American, you know, looking not like everybody else. It's really impactful and the music is super enjoyable. I think the music is enjoyable for anybody, but obviously it's pretty specific, which is one of the reasons I wanted to do her because it's specific and because it's in another language. I would like for us to do, some more of that here and there because I'm a language nerd and it just gives us a more well rounded, broad look at different kinds of music. So, like a lot of that style of music, a lot of people, especially white people, find it really boring because it's just like the same repetitive beat.
Yeah.
But if you listen a little more closely, there's a lot going on there that a lot of people aren't picking up on. There's a lot to appreciate with this kind of music, and I feel like everyone should give it a try. I would also recommend it to people who are learning Spanish because it's really fun to sing along to. It's pretty easy to suss out the words, and it just helps you remember like the language, what the words mean and stuff. It's literally reshaping my brain, like because I knew a bunch of her songs, but I didn't know all the words to any of her songs, like the Spanish ones. I know all the words to the English ones, but like I didn't know every single word to any of her Spanish songs. But now I fucking do because I've been listening to it nonstop. And it's really interesting how, like, when you're learning other languages, how the more you just listen to other people talk or sing, especially with singing, because it's, a song. So it's easy to remember. It somehow reshapes the way you how do I describe this? It's really hard to describe because, like, when I'm learning new languages, as I'm slowly learning what words mean and then what phrases are and like piecing it all together, it's like there's just this change in my brain that, like, I don't know what the Selena song is about at all. And I'm just singing it and learning the words. And then I'm starting to learn the meanings of the words and it's like coming together in my mind. And then at a certain point, I know so many words and the meanings of them that I can listen to other songs and I'm hearing almost a translation in my head actively as I'm listening to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're thinking like figuratively versus like a word to word translation.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I feel like I'm really absorbing the language that way. Like it's really getting integrated into my brain. And I'm sure there's words for this because I read a lot of the Duolingo blog and they always have like that phenomenon's called whatever, like listening to this a lot has really helped me with my Spanish. And it's also helped me with my Portuguese. So I would recommend it to young girls and also people who want to practice their Spanish.
I think those are both solid recommendations. I think that's an excellent way to think about who needs this in their
And also
lives.
anyone who likes pop music. If you like Madonna, if you like Debbie Gibson, if you like fucking Paula, and Selena could fucking dance too. So go watch those music videos. If you like a dancer, she does some good moves. Paula was a really good dancer. She gives major Paula energy to me. Paula Abdul, in case you.
I figured that's the one you meant. Well, cool. Do you want to look forward to the next adventure? But I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a couple different choices and I don't have a real solid direction.
Okay, interesting.
I'm thinking between two different ones, and I think I'm gonna go with the one I want next, and then the next one after that.
Sure.
Here's my issue though. We spent a ton of time in the 80s, I feel like the 70s and 80s, but I think I'm gonna take us back to the 80s.
We're gonna do so many seasons. Also, the 80s has a shitload of music.
Well, I kind of want to do some older stuff. Well, in the 80s is another blind spot for me where it was a bunch of stuff that was super popular that I didn't listen to.
I love 80s music, so
I don't also, which is like part of so
yeah. Well, it was a lot of pop. It was dominated by pop, I feel like. But like a little bit kind of a weird pop, kind of like a gothy pop or
I
something.
don't really like synth music. I don't really like super reverbed out stuff. And I feel like, or like even electronic, and I feel like that's hallmarks of 80s music. But not this band. I think I'm gonna pick a band that I'm pretty sure that I like that has always been on a like I want to listen to this band and for some reason never have. I know I've heard songs of theirs and I know I will recognize some. From 1981 to 1989, they released 8 albums. I was gonna give some background information, but I don't know any of it. They're from somewhere. I'm pretty sure they're British, but if they're not, I'm going to edit that out. We're going to do the replacements.
Nice.
See, okay, good. This will be good. So you haven't listened to them?
I know their songs and like them, but it's one of those things where it's like I thought I liked They Might Be Giants, so we'll see.
Like you like them in passing, but maybe not in.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the replacements.
Sick.
an American punk rock band from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Who am I
Decidedly
thinking of? Oh,
un-British.
you know who I'm thinking of? And you know who I think I conflate them with?
Who?
The Residents.
Oh, see, I don't think I've even heard of that.
Wait, maybe that's not the band I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, the Residents. They have have you ever seen the guy with the eyeball and the top hat? Like his whole head is an eyeball.
Oh, I've seen that before. I don't think I know about any of that music.
They are okay. Well, they're American also. There's a British band that. Okay, well, I always get the Replacements and the Residents confused with each other, so I'm excited to
Figure out
untangle
who the
these two.
replacements are.
Yeah, maybe we should do the Residents. Maybe you do the Residents and I'll do the Replacements, and we'll see what happens.
We put the residents on the Wheel of Death for that episode. That brings me to the Wheel of Death, where I considered choosing Selena Gomez for that because she was named after Selena, and that's why she went into music.
Oh, okay. See, there you go.
But instead, for the Wheel of Death, I am choosing J-Lo.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Of course. Yeah. Of course. Oh,
because
man.
like her shit is pop too, and it's like not, I don't like hate it or anything, so it's not like super Wheel of Deathy for me, but it would be for you probably. So that's but it'll also maybe be one of the Wheel of Deaths that won't be super bad if we get it.
13 albums. It will be terrible.
Oh no, I didn't know she had that many.
Yeah, that's a solid choice though. That is a really, really, really good choice.
I had to do it. I mean, Selena made J-Lo, so
yeah,
Selena also made Selena Gomez.
I'm annoyed that I didn't think of that. That's clearly who that had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be J-Lo.
I agree. I couldn't think of anything better. Like that popped in my head right away, and I was like, "Yep, that's the one," which is exciting.
Yeah, that's a super solid choice. Okay, well, are you cool with the Replacements?
I'm really excited about the Replacements.
Nice. Okay, me too. I think that'll be a really good one.
It'll definitely be a huge change of pace from Selena.
Yeah, which is like it feels bad. I don't dislike Selena, but it's just not. I'm not like jamming or grooving it on my own.
I fucking am, dude. I cannot stop listening to it. I literally will probably put it back on right after we get off this call. Like, it is so enjoyable and it picks me up. A lot of people say that if they're having a bad day or something, they listen to Selena because it just makes them feel like they can go do the thing, It's so sweet.
And I love that for you. And like I'm telling you, I had that greatest hits album, and it will be one that I'll pull out and put on when I want something poppy or just kind of goofy.
I'm also a dancer, so it appeals to me heavily from the dance aspect because it makes me want to move, man.
There's like a level of irony listening to her, I think. Does that make sense?
I'm the total opposite. When I listen to it, I'm full on serious, totally in it. And it does make good background music, especially when you don't know what she's saying. Like, you can kind of just play it in the background and do whatever. At the beginning of listening to it, I was able to read at the same time, but then I started not being able to because now I know what the words mean.
Right. There was a large part of that too, where it was like, because sometimes I'll have like the lyric screen up or whatever and I'll be playing a video game and have the lyrics up and listen to it, so I can kind of be doing both things. But for this, it was like the music was on, I was doing other stuff, and it was like, it's enjoyable, but like it not a lot of it stuck. And I think the language barrier is a part of that.
That makes a huge difference for sure.
But it doesn't I don't know. It doesn't mean that it wasn't good or that I didn't enjoy it necessarily. It just isn't.
I definitely was connecting to it less at first before I knew what the words meant. Who would you recommend it to?
I think you made a really good recommendation. I think those are I think that's the demographic. And again, it's enjoyable. It's utterly enjoyable. And it's, if you like pop, to me, it's better. It's more palatable than like the Spice Girls late 2000s or early 2000s era pop.
Her voice is better than any of that other pop shit. I mean, Tina's voice was mind blowing as well, but there's a very specific quality about Selena's voice that is just so beautiful. She was a great singer. Like, I'm telling you, she would have been so fucking huge right now still. Her concert tickets would cost $1,000 a piece because Ticketmaster fucks everyone over. I will talk about Selena all fucking day long, dude.
Thanks for listening to Retro Spectrum. Be sure and leave us a 5-star review. And follow along with us on all social media platforms at Retrospectrum Pod. If you like what we do, subscribe to our Patreon at Retrospectrum Pod for bonus episodes, playlists, and access to our Discord. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.